To order. This is the regularly scheduled meeting of the City of Syracuse Landmark Preservation Board. Today is March 4th, 2021. I'd like to remind everybody to, if you're not speaking, to mute yourself so we don't hear the rustling of papers and all of that kind of thing.
I don't hear anything.
Okay. So, hey, can you do the roll call?
Where?
Yep. Let's see. We have with us today Cynthia Carter, Dan Leary, John Radke, Jeff Romano, Julia Marshall, Lisa Tonzi, Bob Haley, and Tom Cantwell.
Okay, great.
Hold on. Who is Neil Burke's intern that comes in? Okay, sorry. And we also have some guests along today as well. So.
Okay, thank you very much. I'd like a motion to accept the minutes from February 4th.
That was from Jeff.
Second, Lee.
Okay, any changes, modifications? None, seeing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes as submitted?
Aye.
Aye. Oppose? Abstain? Motion carries. Okay, there is no old business. Under new business, CA-21-1, 506 West Onondaga. They were there our previous meeting, as we all know, and they're coming in with a explanations on the lighting plan and signage. So who is going to be taking over the show?
Hi, that's me, Ed Berry.
Hi, Ed. How you doing?
I'm good. I had some minor difficulties with my computer, but I think they're all squared away now. So I have, if you can let me share, I guess what I just hit share on top.
Yeah, you should be able just to hit share.
Okay. Let's see what we get here. So basically we sent you, I'm going to see how this hit share. Here we go. Do you see the photometric plan right now?
Not yet.
No.
Not yet. Okay, let's see. Let's try again.
There we go.
There we go. Okay.
No, I mean, it's coming up.
All right. So I guess we'll start with the
There we go.
Photometric plan. So we sent you a photometric plan, plus we sent the what the site lighting fixtures are, the poles and the heads, and we also sent you the fixtures on the building proper. There's 5 locations of that, and then we actually sent some elevations on where the wall pecs are going to go in the building. So this is the most recent photometric plan, and it has all the fixtures noted. I think I might have sent you the canopy lights too. So I don't know if we need to talk more about the photometric plan. I could get into the fixtures if you want, unless you have some comments on the photometric plan. We're good with that?
Yeah, I would say sorry, go ahead, Julia.
I was going to say, I think you need to run through it for everybody in terms of what you're showing on the photometric plan so everybody understands the light spread.
Okay, well, the main building is right here as you come in, and so we have wall packs that are being located so that they show main lighting near the stairs and the ramp and all the exits. So there's mainly lit on the north, south, and the east. These are the lumens as you drive down the main. So the poles are located here and here. This is an island where there's a canopy that has the drive-through. So, you know, these are the lumens that are indicated. And then there's poles. Let's see here. I think there's a couple poles back here where the ATM, this is the ATM. So this is the drive-through for the ATM. So there's 3 poles back here. And this is the ATM has its own light fixture too, lighting too, which is by code. So all in all, we have 5 wall packs on the building. We have 2 poles 20 foot high on this little island over by the ATM, or I'm sorry, by the remote teller canopy. And then we have 3 poles in the back section where the drive out and the ATM exists. And then these are the lumens that are shown. So you can see like at the edges, they're less and they're more lit in the middle. You can see these 2.5 and 2.4. This is better lit in the back here because of the ATM requirements. And so the average, it gets a little brighter towards the building, a little brighter in the middle, and the edges are pretty, a lot less at the neighborhood properties.
Hey, Ed, can I add to that a little bit?
Of course you can. Yep, go ahead, Terry.
Okay, so I think you forgot to mention that there's the canopy puck lights on there. And I think there was another revision of the lights that had the photometrics of that. And I think that's what was submitted.
Right.
But still, I mean, it was still a minimal amount of
Yeah.
light coming off those puck lights.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot different change there in those lights.
Yeah, and I think the plan that the board has does
Yeah.
have those on there.
That is the one.
Yeah, they're actually up-down lights, and we only had one in each pole, just to illuminate the canopy itself. So that's basically the overall lighting plan. And I apologize if I didn't put the most recent one up here.
It changed a lot, Ed, so.
Yeah, really.
So question I have, so the wall packs that it's called a clip.
Yep. I can
Um,
probably find it here.
what is the finish on that for the building?
Well, we haven't picked the finish yet. It'll be a metal, it comes in metal finish. So we're actually in the process of doing colors and things like that now, but it'll be the standard metal finishes that you get, the bronze and the light bronze and all those. If we think we need a color, we could probably get a Kynar finish color, but we have not gotten to that detail yet. So
No, actually where I was going is not a color, but probably an aluminum, either bronze or, depending on whether it's a dark bronze, medium bronze.
Mhm.
I don't know, Kate, we need to see that as much as maybe if they provide you with a sample.
Sure. Here's the wall pick. Can you see this now on the screen?
Yes.
Okay. So that's the unit we're getting in.
That's the unit on the building. I thought the unit on the building was the smaller one, the K-lip.
Cup off wall pack. No, the K1. I'm sorry, the K1. Do I even have that?
The K1 goes on the canopy.
That's the canopy, the K1.
Okay.
Right. That's the up down one on the canopy.
Okay,
And these ones are the ones that will be going on the
Right.
building.
Exactly.
okay.
So yeah. So we'll at some point we will have to pick it. We just haven't gotten there yet.
Okay.
If the board has a recommendation, that would be, go ahead and make the recommendation for, as we know, it's sort of a light tan color
What
brick.
does the board think of
blonde.
what's on the screen?
Well, I would just comment that the board might recommend a dark bronze for fixtures, although we would leave it open to your judgment as a final application. Is that a fair statement or not from the board?
In
Well,
terms
I'm
of
hearing
the
a couple
finish?
people say dark bronze seems to be.
Just the color of the natural dark bronze metal finish?
I have no problem with dark bronze. That's probably appropriate for that area.
Yeah.
Plus it won't stand out. It'll blend in and
I mean, their choices are bronze, white, silver, black, graphite, and gray, and I think bronze probably is the best choice if it's a light brick. Yeah.
Usually a darker color subdues the object of the fixture against a historic building, and so a dark color would be preferred dark bronze is probably the most typical, but it's your choice. Another couple more questions, if I could. Your plan for the fixtures on the building, you said 5, and I see 2 on the plan, and then the elevations don't have the light packs where they're shown on the plan. So is the plan incorrect at 2 wall packs, or am I missing? I see 3 maybe.
Let me see if I can. Well,
I guess just as I look at the plan, the wall packs are kind of all over the plan.
are you looking
And
at the photometric plan, or which plan were you referring to?
it's your metric plan.
Photometric plan is a little inaccurate because that was done before we really looked at it as far as trying to get it nailed down to the exact locations.
Okay.
So if we revert to the let's look at the elevations, because that's
Yeah.
I think even better. So right now I have the north elevation. So we took a look at it height wise, and what where it has an optimum, close to optimum light, and tried to put it so that it works with the building too. So we put it around 14 feet off grade, and you can see here's the first. So if I'm looking from the street at the building, here's the first one. We got one on this corner here, and then as you walk up the stairs, there's one on the other side, which would be the east elevation. I'll lower that one. So the east elevation, we have 3. We have one on this corner, we have one over here, and we have one here, and we split them between the floor, these windows. So this is to illuminate the walkway, the stairs up, and the ramp. And then we also put one, I gotta go the north elevation,
Over the back door.
over the back door at the same height. So we try to keep them, uniform in height. And we tried to find a place that was, consistent. So that's how we located it now. We took some time looking at it, so.
Well, that's
Can I
good.
ask
Is there
quick-
anything on the west?
Oh, wait, I
elevation
want to finish my question. My question, did you addressed it exactly? I had looked at the elevations and found, I think, 5 fixtures, and I didn't see that on the plan, so I just wanted to make sure. Secondly, my second point, and it's a recommendation here, is that you might drop the datum or the height of that to align with the roof edge. In other words, down about 1 foot. What I'm trying to do, suggesting to you there, is that if you line them all down with the roof edge around the building, it accepts one of the datums of the historic porches as the height for all the light pack. So
Well, we did look at that. The problem is it starts to get into the, if you put it in this location, now you're getting into the
Yeah.
stonework.
Yeah.
And,
No.
and
well,
we
no,
didn't,
it's a top of stonework, but I appreciate your point. That's what I
right.
think you're fine here, but I was just trying to say that's a slight articulation that, if it's possible, please consider that.
Mhm. Well, I guess you wouldn't want it on the stone.
No.
No,
No.
no.
We could drop it lower.
Well, that's what
yeah.
the roof line, I don't believe, is in line with the stone. If you take the exact.
Yeah, it's
It's close.
it's close.
Yeah, I've looked at it.
Yeah. So we could. I mean, we could.
I'm not telling you what to do. I'm asking you
Right.
to be
That's
sensitive.
fine.
Just,
Yeah.
just take
Okay.
a look at
Yes.
it, lower it to the point that you think is feasible, and that'll be
Yeah.
fine.
I
That's
The
think,
building,
Do you have any light packs on the west elevation?
No, we don't.
Okay.
may I just say, okay, go ahead, I'm sorry. I was gonna say, I agree with Bob, I wouldn't, the only reason it looks a little odd is because it's equidistant from the upper sill and the keystone stone, so if you just bring it down a little bit, not necessarily that it's aligning with that eave, I think probably it would help. But I'll leave it to you, and I'm just gonna ask, and maybe it's rhetorical, the packs are drawn to size on the elevation? Just because
Yes.
there's nothing written, okay.
Yeah,
And
we
they look
actually
fine.
took them off the web, and they're
Okay.
as close as we could get it.
yeah, one of the things that's so difficult with these light packs is that one of them, like on that front elevation, the south elevation, that light is so close to the bay window that it's going to blow the light, on the bay window. So these things, you're trying to locate these items to not accentuate in a negative way the building. And it's a delicate balance. I appreciate what you've done here. I'm not speaking against it. I think it's just slightly further articulation. If you could consider it, that's all.
Yep. Yeah, we actually did. I mean, did look at it like that. And if we lowered it here a little bit, then we were kind of running out of space.
Okay.
So we were looking at that with that in mind. So we'll look at it again.
Thank you.
Okay, sounds good.
Yep.
Want to go on to the changes, I think, on
No,
the
wait,
west
on the
elevation?
lighting plan, I didn't see the sign. Is that sign on your lighting plan up close to the sidewalk?
Let's wait on the sign, Bob. Let's go in a different order.
Fine,
Let's
go ahead.
go with the changes that you were made, I believe, to the west elevation, or was that the north elevation? And the glass work,
The east.
Oh,
the
you
east
wanted to-
elevation,
Okay, one second. I gotta find that.
or the east, I'm sorry.
the east.
Oh.
You mean the porch, or the
The entry glazing.
enclosure, the entryway.
Right,
Yep. Right.
right.
Okay, so this is what we did in response to the having the glass be all glass. So we looked at the code, and we also very carefully tried to keep as much glass as we could. So we decided that we would take the horizontal aluminum frame across and put an opaque etched glass at the panel here, and then for the door itself, we're going to have a push bar, and we feel that that meets the intent of the code. So this is how we're responding to meeting the code for the glass, and trying to still keep the historic fabric intact. And we hope you people or everyone would agree to that.
Any questions on that?
No
Did the-
questions. I think it's the right
Yeah,
response.
did the code require 1.6? I'm just curious.
Oh, there was. I have the code. I don't know if I want to get
No,
into it,
that's
but
okay. I
yeah.
mean,
That's okay, as long as
yeah, I
you're
don't-
complying, that's fine.
yeah, we are in compliance with the square footage of it.
Okay. Let's move on to the sign.
Okay. So this is the sign that we would propose we would want to go with. And I know there was a comment or two for it and comment or two for the pole itself, but we would, talking with Pathfinder and a lot of us believe that this is the way we'd like to move forward with. And this is where we're at right now. And this is what we'd like to get approved.
Okay, what's the lighting on the sign?
It's a lit sign inside,
Interior light? Okay.
interior light.
so what lights
Comments
up?
on
The
the sign?
lettering or the background?
Oh, well, that I'm not exactly sure how they light the inside of it. I could get you more information. We haven't gotten to the design internals yet. We just know it's a double-sided lit sign.
Are both the upper and the lower portions lit of
Yes.
of the sign? So a street number is lit as well as the Pathfinder, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
At least that's what we're proposing. Yep.
Any comments on the sign? Ed, the only comment I had is the overall height is 18 feet. And that, in that location, that seems high. I don't know what other board members feel.
I don't know if I can get to it, but there's Walgreens right next to it, and across the street
Yeah,
there are
saw
some
that.
very large signs right next to
We
us.
know that.
Yeah, I don't think we're even close to some of the heights of our adjoining neighbors.
It's actually taller than that.
I mean,
If the bottom is 12
yeah,
feet plus
12
8,
and
so
20
it's 20.
20 foot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 20 feet total.
we could take that into account. I mean, this is I guess we'll have
My only
to.
comment, Ed,
Yeah.
was the fact, as you alluded to, there are signs in the area that wouldn't be approvable today. We had that right, and so we don't
Okay.
want to continue down the path if we don't have to. And my personal feeling is, if you could lower it, 3, 4, maybe even as much as 5 feet, I think it's more appropriate. But I'd like to hear what the other board members feel.
I get, if I may comment, the 8-foot, 3 by 8-foot signage seems overly large. For, I know that, it's a major drive area, but from a pedestrian point of view, it's quite big.
Is this the only style sign that's available as far as the aesthetics of it?
Well, this was designed pretty much by Pathfinder using their logo and their normal typeset, and also from examples of other signs they've done with other buildings in the area in Oswego. So it came from their from other examples of what they've done before. So it's a custom sign as far as the shape. So I mean, we haven't done multiple designs. This is kind of what we've done 2 or 3, and this is where we're at. As far as reducing the scale of it, we could look at it. I mean,
This doesn't appear to me to fit into a historic site.
Yeah.
As far as the design of it and the shape. I understand you have a logo, and that could certainly be turned into something, I think, a little bit more in keeping with the site itself. That's just my opinion. Thank you.
well, I know the historic people actually don't want you to try to go historic as far as match a certain style. So
What is, I'm not.
yeah.
What is,
Yeah. So anyway, we're trying to.
wait, what does that mean? I'm not sure I follow that.
Well, as far as doing like an old style type to try to make it look like it was on the building originally,
Yeah.
we want you to do something that doesn't react to that. It wants to be that you can tell that it's not historic.
Who is that? Can someone else chime in on that? Because I'm not.
I understand what he's saying. They don't want to mimic because they want the historic building to stand on its own.
Okay.
But as far as the sign is concerned, it's not pedestrian friendly, and in fact, because it's going to be lit on both sides, I think that it's uncomfortably large, and I think that a simpler sign would be more appropriate. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I'm uncomfortable with the shape of it and the scale of it.
I
I'd
don't
like
know.
to,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's get some other comment from board members, please.
say thank you for listening to some comments from the previous meeting where we have more of a vertical orientation. I appreciate that. But if we could scale this back like a quarter or a third of its size, I think we'd start to see what Julie is saying about more pedestrian scale, pedestrian friendly opportunity here, because we have quite a large column of brick and signage. And if we reduced it, 25, 30%, I think we start to reach our pedestrian scale, and it look more in tune with the residential structure that this is sitting in front of.
Right.
Even though it's a commercial building now, but it's a residential piece of architecture. So I think that's getting lost in the transmission here. But I do appreciate the vertical orientation of the sign, and I'm venturing my guess that the brick would replicate what's on the building. Ed, if you can clarify that.
Well, we will have to take into account the texture and the tone of the brick, and we'll probably try to do something close to it. Yes.
Thank you.
And if you could look at, if you could go back to your client and talk about the scale of the sign, both the height and the actual size of the sign itself, the 8x8 sign. And the comments seem to be pretty across the board to see what we can do about reducing the overall size and scale.
Yeah,
You can
think
get
we
back
can.
to
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Get back to
I
your
don't.
client, then get
I
back
don't
to
think that's
Kate.
an issue. I'm sure we could work with that, and maybe reduce the width of the masonry too. So we'll take a look at it and we'll scale it back. And I'll talk to Jim. I don't know if Jim's online with us right now today or not. Jim Dowd.
I don't see him.
I didn't see
I
him.
don't see
Okay.
him.
I will talk to Jim we'll take these comments into account and we'll send a revised something out unofficially back to you at some point.
Terrific.
Yeah.
If I can just, yeah, if I could just jump in, I think we should establish that the maximum height for the bottom of the Pathfinder sign should be 8 feet. In this kind of a location, I don't see any reason to be any higher than 8 feet. That would be above vehicle height. I question the need for the cap on the top of the brick wall with the illuminated 506. As far as anything, the 506 might be larger numbers, but I don't see any reason to illuminate them. Other than that, I agree with the rest of the comments.
Okay, so add that to your,
Well, we were using the existing pole that's there. It's 12 foot high. Otherwise, we got to modify the pole, which I guess we could, but that was why we started with 12 feet. That's an existing pole structure that's sitting there now.
right.
And we were just going to utilize the sign pole that we have.
Okay.
But
Well,
that's
why
my
don't you
only
take a look
response
at
back
it
to that.
again and, get on back to us and take the comments. And I echo what Jeff said. So much for listening to the comments and at least going in the directions that, we can all live with. So that's very good.
Mr.
Any
Chairman,
other questions?
yes, I have another question. If I could ask it.
Sure, go.
Very simply, I wonder, Ed and Terry, if you could outline for us what are the existing signage requirements in that area for this sign?
150 square foot is our
Right.
building, our site we have right now. Terry might know the overall, but I know that she did the numbers, and we're well within our 150 square foot.
What about the size and location requirements for signage along the street here?
Terry, maybe you could talk about that.
Yeah, I'd have to go back. I don't know off the top of my head, and I don't have to.
No, I don't either. What I'm trying to say is that we do have some standards in
150
place.
feet. Yeah, if it is 150 feet, your 8 by 8 free is more than 150 feet.
150 square feet.
Yeah, well, you got 8 by 8. That's what?
That's 64
64
times 2. That would
30. I don't know if they're going to count the lit address. So you're getting close.
Well, my point here is that the overall condition of signage here, we need to know what the basis is to judge this one from in terms of variances, either location or material. I agree that I hate to go down the line here and try and make this submission appropriate by little tweaks. I'd rather know what the requirements are for the building's signage and then have you respond to that. I think it is. We're not looking to compete with other buildings commercially, and I know your bank would be. Appreciate that from your client. The comments were quite simple, oversight. First of all, it's a completely new submission. I appreciate now your earlier submissions of simplicity, both in size and in the simplicity of the sign. I think that the comment was made about the scale. This is 12 feet high. That's 2 6-foot people. So it's definitely a road sign as opposed to a pedestrian scale sign, which is a negative on this street. I think all of that comes to bear that this is a classic case of commercial signage that we're trying to get right for the historic context, both of the street and of the building. So I would like to know first the requirements for signage so that we know what variances might be needed here. Then we're trying to judge it in context to the building's scale.
In addition, the question of the logo on the drive-through teller canopy.
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know
part of the
that-
signage.
Exactly.
Yeah. In fact, the whole teller canopy is a sign in itself, as you know. The arcing form, the signage on both sides. And I presume there'll be some signage over on the exit teller as well. So that's all part of your total signage submission here. The sign's big, it's enormous. It doesn't have a design aesthetic to the building, except for the brick, which now I'm becoming more in favor of. But simplicity, your client's name, certainly the critical identification of the street number. I think the comment was made that there don't need to be 2 signs, one for the street number and one for the sign. Even though it's clever, it's excessive in this case. Simplification, critical identification, total signage packages to be considered here, not just this sign.
Okay, Ed, so you have the comments, so get back to Kate with, after you speak to your client and see where you're at, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
Can I just, so this is a C of A, modification to a C of A, and I just wanted to clarify that the board, though, has no additional comments or concerns about the sign, not the signage, I'm sorry, the lighting or the vestibule. Is that correct?
That's correct.
The only comment on the vestibule is that the changes on the vestibule are really quite excellent. I'm glad that you, Ed, and your architectural team here were supported by this board to what Albany was asking you to do there. The new detail of the raised 18-inch base aligning with the existing stone cap is a very appropriate detail both for code and for this building's design. I think what's remaining here, only Kate, to answer your questions, is the detail of that metal vestibule engaging the columns. That's not shown in these documents. In other words, a plan showing how the vestibule walls, those 3 glass walls, are built to the stone cap, the existing stone cap of that wall.
Yeah.
You lost me.
The detail is going to just wrap around it. We don't have like a particular blow up detail, so to speak. At least at this
Okay,
point.
let me ask you a question then. The glass wall, eastern glass wall, where is its location relative to the stone cap? And I'm talking about the plan here. Plan. Where is the glass?
Plan. Oh,
Is it out with the face of the column, or is it back at the inside of the?
I'd have to get to the plan. I don't have that memorized.
No, that's okay. My point is that the
yeah.
company was pushing you in one direction, and your instincts were right, which is to make the vestibule a subset inside the brick wall base and the colonnade. So it's critical where that eastern glass wall is to those columns in terms of your rendering of that concept clearly and historically accurate.
Yeah, we'll definitely take that into account, and I know I'll look at it in the floor plan myself, but just to make sure we're okay with it. It was on the historical plan, I believe, like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I understand all your comments on the sign, and I will. I'll get back to Pathfinder. I think the first thing we'll do is look at the overall size, and maybe reducing it by 20-25% might solve most of the problems and the amount of signage we can have in the first place, and the scale. And maybe we take the 506 address and put it in the body of the sign. We'll take a look at it.
Okay, that sounds good. And
yes,
I think we should also note, Don, that the lighting plan does not include the wall packs, as far as I can see, in the foot candle projections. It's not really critical any place except around the front entrance and the stairways. It would be inadequate the way it's shown, but I think if you added the wall packs, it's okay.
Yeah, if you could identify those on your scheme, as you said, it wasn't 100% accurate. If you could update that.
I think the only thing that wasn't accurate was the canopy up fixtures. I believe it shows the wall packs are on the lighting plan. Let me go find it here.
Well, the foot candle registrations are not.
Yeah, they're right here. Wall pack, wall pack, wall pack. They're just not exactly shown in the location. We changed it. This was done before we started to look at the elevation of it, and it really does affect the illumination. But we can have it modified exactly.
Yeah, just make a note so we have it correct.
Yeah. Yep. Okay.
And then we appreciate you going back, and we have another meeting the third Thursday of the month, and hopefully we can wrap this up for you at that time.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you, Ed. I appreciate
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, moving forward, special permit SP-21-03, 225 Jefferson Street. Is the applicant here, Kate?
The applicant is not here. Jim Niddle was unable to attend this morning, but I did have a conversation with him. Oh, yeah, actually, I will start to share, shall I?
This is our jurisdiction here is comment, correct?
That's correct. The building you're all, if you know about this, well, it's not, it is a structure, shall we say. It's not so much a building as a structure. Down in Armory Square, off West Jefferson Street, it's behind or close to the old railroad depot, and it's actually here. I'll see if I can get in here for you. So let's see if I can describe this here. They have built. This is existing already too. Hold on, I'm going to go down here. Hold on, let me see. I'm going to go down to photographs. Okay. So do people, actually I should start. Do people know where we are in Armory Square? Okay.
Yeah.
And what they have done, not they, I mean what has been done is there are these spaces within this embankment. It's basically the railroad embankment, although right here I understand it's actually there's parking up here. There within this sort of concrete embankment, they have carved out spaces. That there's one that's being used as an office, and now this one is going to be used. Hold on here, I can get in here.
An exercise.
For an exercise room, yeah. The windows. So here's one already. It's actually a really small project. And here we go. Here there are these
So the
existing
sum
openings.
total of what they want to do is they want to add a window. They want to add 2 aluminum windows in that location.
Yeah, well, basically those openings already exist. Oops, here, I'm sorry. Okay, here we go. These openings already exist, and there's just space behind this concrete wall that they're turning into the vaults. I think that's, yeah, the vaults. And they want to put aluminum. These openings already exist. They just want to put these the sort of storefront windows in aluminum frames into these openings. So they're not actually, they are new aluminum windows, as he indicates here, but the openings already exist. They're just
And the
updating.
existing there are aluminum already. And this is down
I'm
that.
actually not sure what it looks as though at the moment they are filled with. You know, at the moment, let's see here. I think there was one photograph. Well, you can see that one there. I don't even know what they're. Yeah, at the moment it's just plywood. I don't know.
Yeah,
That's it. They're
right.
just, it appears to be existing.
Right, so
Appear to
what
be
we're
existing
seeing is
aluminum.
actually the steel lintel.
Yeah.
Right. And it's very odd.
Is that, you know, the location is not one that's very visible at all, and as long as what they add matches in color the best that they can, I think that's the only issue that I would
think
have.
that's what their plan is to, is to basically match the same kind of aluminum storefront as is here on these doors.
Kate, do we know if they're just wanting to add the 2 new, or are they replacing all 4 openings? Do you know?
No, only the 2 new.
Okay,
Just the
I
2
don't
new.
see that here, but thank you if that's the case.
Yep, those are the 2. The other ones
Any
are
other
just,
comments?
existing.
Nope, just match is appropriate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that
the
looks
comment
fine.
is in the affirmative as long as they do their best to match the existing.
Okay, good. Thanks.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sorry, I was
Moving
sort of
on
stumbling to describe.
Yeah. Moving
Okay.
on to the discussion on the Lowe's building and window. Is that applicant here? Are they going to be here?
Yeah, yep, they are in here. I'm going to stop sharing, hopefully. Stop sharing. I think there are a couple people here. Let's see.
Hi, Kate.
Angana? Yeah.
Yes. Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Kate. Thank you for inviting me. We do have a few others who are residents in the building. So if you see names that are not familiar to you, there's Ray Arbusto, Joshua Wilcox, and then Max Eberts. I can share my screen. I have a presentation if that's helpful.
Sure.
Perfect.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oops. Okay, can you see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so hello, thank you all for allowing us to present about our window situation. We are a small group of residents and condo unit owners who've come together over the last year or two to try to get our windows replaced. And I hope you'll ignore any missteps in my terminology because I work in a completely different field from what you usually. So the building itself is, you see a picture right there. It is in Armory Square. It's actually we're neighbors to the project you were just talking about a moment ago. The original architect was Thomas Lamb. It was envisioned as a cinema theater, as you all know, and as an office building, and work was completed in 1928. You probably know all know more about the history about this building than I do. It is 8 stories tall, and it does have a basement. It's about 70,000 square feet. And the history that we're aware of is most recently in 2000, it was purchased by Bob Doucette and Rich DeVito of Paramount. And then they renovated it to become 20 residential condos. So we have an HOA and an HOA board, which represent the unit owners. In the past, Paramount was also in the HOA and was a property management company. And Mike Inglaterra is the representative from Landmark Theater. So the 4 of us here today have come together because of the increasingly poor state of the windows. To our knowledge, there have been a few attempts to replace them in the past, but because of various different roadblocks, this never happened. The HOA was somewhat unable to assist us or to organize, so recently we reached a critical mass of owners and those of us whose windows are literally falling apart and we need to do something, so we organized this subcommittee. My only experience in windows is that I've put up removable caulk and plastic sheeting to keep out the central New York winters because so we carried out some surveys to kind of understand the state of the windows, how many unit owners, what are their conditions. So this is just a Google Maps picture of where we're exactly talking about. And over here you see the street facing sides, and then these are not street facing sides. So north looking towards Sky Armory and Epicuse, west looking towards South Clinton and over the Landmark Theater itself. So facing south, we have a street facing side, and these are all wood windows. So there's about 60 in total based on who we have talked with so far. There is significant dry rot. The insulation is quite poor. Seals have failed, and some just do not close. They are quite large, 60 inches wide, 83 inches tall, and I'll show you some pictures of the state of them. So the exterior wood you can see on the left, that's actually my own unit. And then on the right, a couple of floors above, someone literally had to stick their camera out the window and took this picture recently. This is the same unit, 2 above with broken latches. Can't see here, but the seals are broken. And there are some significant safety concerns, as you can imagine here. Facing west, now over the Landmark Theater, there's a mix of different compositions of the windows. So this is my unit. These are wood. 705 is Josh, and those are aluminum. And then 803 has a mix, I believe, of all 3, and there is a steel component there too, from what we understand. These are some from 705. You can see some pictures of the actual state, and possibly some water damage and leakage going at the bottom near the sill. Here's the state of some of the wood on that side. And of course, you know, some of this has to do with wind direction and light and sun direction, but these are the still windows and they're just really just falling apart. And some of the wood, close up of the wood rot and condensation issues and seal issues appear. Facing north, we have looking towards Sky Armory and Epicuse, and these are mostly steel windows. The main issue that concerned the residents here is a very poor insulation capacity. These also have an interesting feature of this chicken wire glass, and obviously you all know more about that than me. So that's something we were thinking about and considering about how to maintain or needing to maintain and that kind of thing. But since these are facing a different direction, that was one of the questions that we had about street facing versus non-street facing, which I'll get at the end. Okay, so far in the process, we have come to 2 companies who have been actually willing to work with us because of the scope of the project and the nature of the project too. So Flower City is one that we've been talking with. They have recently proposed a weather shield window. These are actually just scale models that he brought to show us all so that we can understand the latching system and everything. They're double hung. He had proposed for the existing wood windows to do an aluminum clad but wood window. You can see this is the exterior this is the exterior, this would be the interior. And then this would be a proposal for existing steel metal windows. So that's just something there. And then this is just the spec sheet, I guess, that he provided to me yesterday. I'll just leave that up for a second. And then one other company is also willing to work with us. A couple of others have dropped out. This is Ryan Windows, and their product is a Marvin window, which is Marvin Signature Ultimate line. It's also double hung. Similar ideas here. And this is just the basic idea of that. So just coming to and considering all of that, we just want to thank you for your guidance in choosing the windows, because first, the condition of these windows is so poor, so our priority is to address the safety concern, because in this building we have several small children, we have pets, we have older adults who live in this building. A few of our owners rent out their units, and tenant safety is a concern. Second, we have to make the building more sustainable in terms of its energy use. The poor insulation capacity leads to high energy use and increased operation costs, and would, we think, hold back Armory Square, the downtown area, because of the city's goals of advancing environmental sustainability, and we do not want to be part of holding that back. And of course, many of us choose to live in this building exactly because of its historical qualities. So of course, we do want to maintain the exterior appearance and consistency throughout the building too. So, a couple of questions we had about that would be how we would incorporate screens into that, how it would affect the exterior appearance if it does. And, one of the thoughts that we had would just to maintain the color, the exterior color being black. And just 2 other things would be that we do intend to apply for the State Historic Homeowner Tax Credit Program for those of us who are eligible. And finally, we had a concern due to the age of the building and because of the unknown timing of when windows were replaced in the past, or if they're original, about lead abatement, especially because of the vulnerable populations I mentioned. So that is what I have. That was helpful.
Okay, well, thank you very, very much. And for the board's edification, as Kate put in her notes, this is not something that's likely to come in our review. It's a national register property. It's not a local protected site. But we really do want to compliment you folks for coming to us for guidance, and we'll, I'm sure, do the best that we possibly can. And recognizing the scale of this project, the expense of this project, it's important that you guys get it right. And I'll just start off comments by saying that in general, when we talk about windows, we're talking about size, scale, material. By that, I mean keep the openings the same size, keep the glazing percentage the same. Don't go narrowing the glazing by having wide frames, et cetera, et cetera. And I think
I just wanted to clarify glazing. Don is referring to the amount of glass.
The amount of glass.
Just so that we're clear on the terminology. Okay, go ahead. Sorry. Glazing can also be the putty, right? So.
Correct. And the last thing that and then I turn it over to the rest of the board, is I think it's important that whatever is done is something that can be replicated going forward. The mistake would be to do something, 150 windows total in the building. If you've got 70 for half the units, you probably have 140, 150 windows. We wouldn't recommend a situation where you would do 70 windows now and X number of years do 70 more windows of something different. So hopefully whatever is done is something that can be replicated going into the future. So eventually all the windows would be the goal. So with that, I'll turn it over to the rest of the screens. I think some of the board's probably going to say, consider interior screens.
Should I start?
Yeah, sure.
Couple of comments. I've done a couple of projects, actually several projects in terms of window replacement. And one of the things you mentioned in your presentation is for lead abatement. I might mention that you probably are going to have to also test for asbestos, because the asbestos would be in the caulks. And given the age of the building, and I'm fairly sure because we did the theater stage house, so I know that you're going to have to test for that. The other thing that will be important, and it goes to Don's comment about replicating in the future, look at a window manufacturer that does the windows custom, because you're not going to find stock windows exactly to fit those openings, fairly sure. So a custom, and one of the products you put up, I don't know much about Weather Shield, but I do know a lot about Marvin. Marvin makes the windows to order for the aluminum frame. And I will reiterate Don's comment about sight lines in terms of the amount of glazing to the amount of frame, and divisions in terms of the meeting rail, which is between the two windows that rise and fall. The other thing is, you mentioned a lot about insulation values from the windows that you have, and a lot of issues with that. Glazing typically is not an insulator at all, and what needs to be reviewed when the windows are removed is actually the masonry opening, and that's where a lot of your air loss is happening. So that really needs to be addressed in addition to changing out the windows, because if we're trying to achieve energy savings, you need to look at that as well. And the window companies are responsible for their windows. They're not necessarily looking at the installation from an insulation point of view, and the leakage and the moisture is in the wall adjacent to the windows. So those are my comments. And what's, from your presentation, it seems like not everybody, obviously there are more windows to come. My only comment is it would be helpful if there's uniformity to facades in terms of what you're removing, in the first phase, and obviously it will be phased, but if it's a pick and choose, that's difficult to swallow from a historical point of view, that, it's kind of spot changing on the facades. Behind the building overlooking the theater, one can't see those, so it's a lot easier to address those. But when it's on the street facades, that makes it more difficult. And I know you're working with different tenants, and not everybody is buying into it at this point, but something to think about. That's it for me.
If I can add to what Julia said, it's a huge project. As far as the masonry openings are concerned, the other thing that you're going to encounter, I'm sure, if at least in some of the openings, is there probably are sash weights and sash pockets. They're going to have to be addressed
Right.
to prepare the opening before you install new windows. And what you called the chicken wire glass, recognize that those are windows on interior property lines. They are not set back from the property line. At the time of construction of this building, there was no state building code. But when you replace windows, you're going to have to look at a state building code. I'm sure you can't get chicken wire glass anymore, but there are some specific requirements for glazing on the property line, and you're going to have to consider how that might be addressed. One of them would be shutters, fire shutters. Not recommending that, but that's a possibility. The other thing is the question of glass performance is going to raise the issue of low E glass or other types of glass fill for higher performance. I think the biggest issue that we're going to have historically is that the reflectance of any replaced glass does not violate the original conditions, and that's more available now than it used to be. It used to be that once you went to low E glass, you either got a blue or gold reflectance, and you can avoid that now, just to caution you. And Don had already mentioned the interior screens. When you're dealing with double hung windows, which the great majority of these are double hung or fixed, interior screens are going to be your best bet. And there are a variety of options available, but I don't think it would matter to us whether or not screens were provided on any given set of windows. I think they could be on a one-by-one basis. It could even be removable screens, by the way. Other than that, congratulations and good luck.
Kate?
Kate, go.
Oh, no, Bob, you go first. I just had an idea, but go ahead, Bob.
Well, first of all, congratulations on your presentation and the care that your group has shown, and your analysis showing that you really understand the primary facades of the building and the differences of conditions that all those windows had. Dan's last comment was where the chicken glass was. That's a fire code issue. So there's a lot of sub details you've heard. I just have a number of recommendations for your group to go forward, and that is that conditions survey of the entire windows will address all of your windows. In other words, there's about 4 things you should do. The first one being a condition survey by an expert. Now, an expert is not a window seller, of course, by itself, and it's not just an engineer, but it's somebody who knows this building. As Julia and Dan had just mentioned, it would be somebody historic reference, historic knowledge of past large-scale window replacements. Now, you as a group, as an owner's group, could negotiate your condition survey and limit it so that you're not overburdened early on the project with a lot of consulting expenses. You can always negotiate that out by defining what you need at the different stages. And the second thing that's really important would be the code review update to show what can be done at those north facade flush match interior block flush line, because yes, there are different conditions now than the building was built with originally, considering the chicken glass issue. That's the fire opening on a 0 lot setback. That can be articulated and understood. Back to the conditions survey. One is the different types of windows, and obviously the materials, such as they've mentioned, asbestos and the actual types of caulking that were used over the years will tell you how much or how extensive the hazardous removal contract would be. And again, we can, through Kate and Julia, we can give you more leads to that, but you're certainly on the right track. After you do the condition survey and the code review, then you're ready to do a limited contract documents. That would be your next step, which would articulate how much you want to bite off of all the things you'd like to do and in what order. And the last phase would, of course, be the construction phase. Now, meanwhile, with those 4 basic stages, your group can be investigating fundraising opportunities, options, and support that might go along with your overall project. But thank you for your concern and the organization you put together in your presentation and for the care of the building. We thank you very much.
Yeah. And as Dan said, and we appreciate and understand this is a big project. And it's going to be something that will carry on over a period of time. So the more expertise you can get, and we are available for continuing discussion in it. Kate?
Yeah, a couple things. One thing that popped into my head was large windows, and it put me in the mind of the Grange building, which is where Sweet Praxis is. They replaced all of their windows, and they're huge. Those windows are absolutely enormous. So I will, and I know that they had theirs custom made. And I'm happy to go and find out from, oh gosh, what was their name? Go ahead, Julia.
I was going to say, we did the State Tower, and also we found a company, and I can get you the name, where they actually replicated steel windows, which have a much narrower frame, but they're actually aluminum, but they're, they replicate a steel window. So, and those were quite large as well. So when the State Tower building was done.
So we can get you some other ideas of people who are contractors or manufacturers who might be willing to take on a task of this size and scope. And the other thing is that we should talk, because I can set up a code review, help you set up a code review to discuss specifically the issues of those windows with the wire in them, and what solutions that we're looking at now. So at least you can get yourself, you and your association can be fully, up to speed on what's going to happen with those, what needs to happen with those windows too. So we can do that.
Yeah, because just so you know, you can't come back with the wire windows.
Right.
Once you take them out, you cannot replace them with the wire.
Well, hopefully we're going to be able to put you in a direction and give you some assistance and some resource assistance. And I want to echo what other members said, that we really thank you for the approach that you're taking. And this is a very, very significant building and a very, very significant spot for our city and our community. And we appreciate your efforts. So we're certainly going to continue to be here for a resource to the degree that you need us.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Good luck.
Board, can you please stay on? I just have a couple updates and some things.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Kate, do you have any update on the Gillette house?
The only, the update is not good in that apparently with this weather that we've had, and I don't know if this was the condition when you all were out there, but it looks like we've lost Lisa. Anyway, the back wall, I guess the rear addition collapsed, and it's pulled the back wall down, not completely, but it has crumbled some portion of that back wall. I don't know if anyone saw those photographs. I need to, I'm talking to our demolitions person as well as and he's been talking to the fire department. Apparently the fire department's taking some interest. So I've put the bug in the ear already that we want to avoid tearing the entire building down. That now is the time to go and do some stabilization, that's the word I'm looking for, without pulling the entire building down. The worst thing that can happen, they can condemn the back section, no problem, but the entire building should not be subject to any type of emergency demolition order at this point. So
absolutely.
Okay, good.
So my I'm sorry, I was just gonna say, my plan is to, actually, I need to contact, the owners again and just, express our concern about the condition and say we need to work collaboratively, to
I
see.
think you should also tell the owner that there's enough in the building that we see that's salvageable, that they should not just write it up. That's important. I
Right,
don't know what's happening.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, yeah.
right. Well, this is known throughout the city. So, in terms of administration, so we're on top of it, and hopefully we can save the house and go from there. Also, I just wanted to mention that in terms of other things that may be coming from us, I've had several questions about Columbus Circle. Landmark preservation the board may or may not be required to comment. It is not going to be a jurisdictional issue where we have jurisdiction and definition of decision. It's that covenant that existed with the state based on their contract they had with the city due to the earlier renovation is no longer in effect. So the extent of any our involvement, if any, will be strictly to comment. And obviously, this is a potentially very controversial project. And I must caution the board, because I've heard it already, that as individuals in the community or groups in the community see this project going forward one way or the other, and depending on what our jurisdiction, they're going to be lobbying us and talking to us, and we must keep our personal opinions out of the decision-making process. We make our decision based on the criteria that is in front of us to do our due diligence. And if inappropriate and wrong for any of us as individuals to bring individual philosophical or political feelings to any discussion as a board or as members of the board with members of the community. We are part of a process, and that we stick to our criteria. So I just want to issue that caution, and it can be difficult to keep our personnel or our personal opinions out. Difficult, and yet at the same time, we have to stay with the guidelines of our jurisdiction. So other than that, does anybody have anything else they want to add?
Just to comment on the whole building window replacement. I hope this isn't the beginning of a new major issue, in that we've got all the condominiums in historic high-rise buildings, and the developers very cleverly turn their responsibility over to the homeowners association and the condo owners, and a lot of that extra maintenance they throw in there. Man, we're gonna hit a ton of them if this starts this. Congratulations, Bob. You did it again.
Yeah, no. Dan,
The other question I have is, how about the people that had the roof damage down on south side, I think, on the house? Where they had the,
no.
Oh, yeah, I know that they had apparently Diamond came in to
got somebody to-
with some yeah, they did. They got Diamond to come in. So this is the Gridley house suffered some.
oh, really, yeah.
The Gridley house had suffered some ice damming damage, or damage as a result of ice damming, and all of a sudden, as you can imagine, and it's going to keep happening, because here we go down. We're down again in the 20s, and then we're going to be up to 50 next week, and who knows? It's so anyway, they did have someone come in.
Yeah, no, it's Dan. You bring up a great point, and I would be shocked if this isn't the first of coming up.
Breaking up.
I wonder. I really wonder.
I can't hear him.
The economic.
Hey, Don.
You're breaking up, Don.
Don, you're breaking it.
Can't, yeah?
There we go. Don, if you, yeah, Don, if you turn your, if you turn your camera off, that we save some bandwidth, and then we might be able to hear you. You're right.
How's that? Is that better?
I think so.
Is that better?
I think
Yeah,
it's good.
video,
Okay,
yeah,
well,
video.
anyway,
you can-
I'm done. It's just, this is gonna be a very expensive project.
Yeah.
So. All right,
think that the
so,
advantage of
with
doing-
that, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Second?
We'll all make a motion.
Okay, everybody stay safe and we'll see you in a couple of weeks.
See you, Tom. Take
All
care.
right.
Julia,
Thank you. Good to see everybody.
everybody.